Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Shrimp at the House Recall, Part 2, page 16. Um, Here we are reusing the playground set that was introduced in Aiden's Bully. uh, let's see, 0. Again, this was one of those ideas where it was supposed to be like a one-off use. I didn't expect to, I never expected to come back here, so there's nothing really complex about this scene. It's just a couple of pieces of equipment. I put this giant wall around it, kind of hide from the fact that there's nothing, and then there's this giant building. So it was always the idea that shooting here was going to be sort of limited. There was going to be like limited camera angles. It was, it was like because this wasn't really a serious or wasn't really intended. Oh my God! Stop that. To be permanent set, the environment wasn't really was never designed for a full view. So you know, so I think this is now the third story I've popped back in here. And since it's usually a spur of the moment decision, and I never really expect to, I didn't come in expecting to use this set. It just never gets reworked. Let's see, but this building is a good sort of backdrop. And these two. Uh, so these two. I think this is. I'm trying to think. Actually, I think this is the fourth story that either one or both of them have made an appearance in. These are the next door neighbors introduced in the very first story. This Let me get this set up. Um, I'll finish that thought when this panel is done. Edit paste as, because working with this set, these pictures are rendering very quickly. So whereas like with the other pages set in the house, see right there, the other pages set inside the house, they usually finish maybe a couple of moments after I do the bubble here, but with this set, they're going relatively quick, so I don't even get the text bubble. Uh, it's that stupid device of hers. It's defective, so no, I'm shrinking without it. Okay. I think that I can only speculate on the reason for why this set is going so fast. There's not a lot of objects in the scene. Like, inside the house, I don't want to say it's cram packed, but compared to this playground, it might as well be. So there's not a lot of stuff for the render image to have to calculate in creating the image. Similarly, and I'm not sure this has that much of an effect working in 3Delight with the Shrimp of the House series, but I am, it's like it's. I think I realized it in the last page after I had gotten about halfway through that I was using a different light setup. Okay, that's light up. I was using a different light setup in the house than I am here, and top of my head, I'm not sure if I changed the light setup in the house for this story or if I had already done it for the Xmas story. But I did change up the light setup, and the light that I'm using in the house, scale 34, tends to be slower to render than sort of the light I used to use. Whoops. Uh, okay, layer G. I need a new layer. But these two layer to image size. So these two were created in the first story, and then we didn't see them again until Aiden's bully. Where they were, um, where you, like, in the background in the playground, you would always see them on this bench, I think it was, and the kids are on the playground. And then you saw, what's his name, Kyle, was in that one panel in what was it, Showtime. But they've been reworked a little bit for, let's have her talk. They were reworked a little bit for Aiden's bully, and then I've sort of reworked him a little bit, a little bit. Um, oops. Oh, I'm not using a camera. That's why I was hitting undo, because when I'm in with the camera, um, moving around the viewport while looking through the camera actually moves the camera. So, the undo undoes the camera. And, I might as well put a camera in. And then we'll go in the camera. So I'm looking through the camera now. If I go messing up the viewport and then hit back, it'll put the camera back. And that's what I'm looking at. But, it's kind of part of it's sort of the issue. Well, it's sort of the issue is like, I think, if I remember it right, I actually created this family before the Smith family. So it's kind of going way, way back to when my model selection, my figures, character, the available skins, the morphs for the figures was a lot more limited than it is now. Um, it's they're kind of as simple as the Smith family. So it's like trying to rework them without really making them completely unrecognizable. And since I haven't really used them all that much, in the back of my head, I'd almost like to just let them fade away and never use them again. But, oh my god, and there's the picture already. Sheesh. So let's pop them in. And I've said it, and I've said it, I think, in a previous video way back when sometimes, but, I'll mention it again because chances are you probably haven't seen it. So it's probably new to you. We're going to cut him out. I don't really want him in the scene. But I might have to redo this picture because her face needs to be centered, but I really don't want the side of his head. So, um, I like that view. So what I might do just for now is is that. Then I can cut it here, and his face will be out. Yeah, let's do that. And delete that picture in there. I kind of. This is just too funny. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this picture. 34. So it was I think before when I was just experimenting with this with Daz, messing around trying to get the hang of it. I created this family. And I think it sort of touched off the creation of the Smith family, and then it was probably the Smith family that said, "Hey, you know what I can do? You know what I can do with this." But I never. Oops. Oh, and that was kind of the birth of Shrimp of the House. Oh shoot. Okay, this isn't gonna. But the idea was, I had no idea like Shrimp of the House would kind of take off like it did. I had no idea I'd be here like 3, 4 years later, like with like 26 titles out there for you guys. Control C on that one. But I did, you know, I did have the idea that I was going to play around with a couple other stories before realize, just for sort of my personal enjoyment, not really expecting you guys to like this that much. So I think it was as I was nearing the end of Shrimp of the House. I was playing around with the characters and sort of a couple of the test renders that I had created gave me the inspiration for Jackson's Folly. Um, but when I started the first Shrimp of the House, like I said, I had these characters sort of in a folder somewhere. I liked the family, as much as I liked the Smith family from from the creator's point of view, that is. And actually, um, I was probably, I have to say, probably before I started this, I was actually messing around with the video function of Daz Studios. And it was sort of like at this point where, with them, I'm like, I'm getting sophisticated enough. Instead of doing videos, I can make pictures, do, and do do little stories like a comic or something like that. But so I might actually have segments of videos with Kyle, Gwen, and family that'll never see the light of day. But now that I've teased you with them, um, but the idea is like that they were inspiration for a crossover I wanted to do back when I started. There, we'll just undo his head. So was the idea is when I started Shrimp of the House, I had this idea for another story, which it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a long story. It was probably just like along the issues of the short tales that I've got on Patreon now. It was just supposed to be like a one-off, fun, not serious adventure. 30. Oops. I can't find anything on it. Oops. Let's see. I got rid of. I got rid of it last year, so I know not someone messing with me this time. It was like the idea for a crossover that never happened. I think I just never really. It was like something in the back of my mind that I just never got excited for. Actually sitting down and doing it, but the idea was set up in the original Shrimp of the House. Paste as new layer. And that would have been the premise of the crossover mini story, where they play around with armbands that give them a little more control. They do the same thing, but give them a little more control over it. The idea being with the kids, instead of it being all fun and games in the bedroom, they use it to play with the kids in a different way. And this so-called story would have been just him playing dress up, getting small, and running around the house with the kids. Nothing serious, nothing. It wasn't supposed to have any of the sexuality from the sexual undertones of Shrimp of the House. It was just supposed to be good, clean fun. Um, let's see. File open as layers. I should have the picture. Yep, there it is. But and like I said, when I have the I had the I had created a family for them. So the idea, and like I said, I don't remember. Top of my head, I don't really remember details of what went into the original Shrimp of the House story. It's been so long. And sometimes when I do a call back, I have to go back and look it up because I just don't remember something that seemed small and insignificant at the time. But the idea, sort of the idea that never made it onto any page, is that layered area size. It's sort of in their house. Um, select shrink. Sort of in their house, they've got the two kids. It's them, the two kids, and he's actually got a brother. The I think the setup is that it's his younger brother who's going to the same state college that Alex is planning to go to, and he's basically staying with his older brother in the family to save on the room and board. That's kind of the premise inside the household. And it's sort of like the idea is why you've got like while so it's why the idea is why you've got the it's sort of like father kids playing. You've also got this younger brother, the uncle, who's sort of a little more child. I don't want to say childlike, but maybe not quite as serious, a little lighter. Actually, let's just delete those keys. Because he's not the parent, he gets to be there. He's like, he doesn't have to worry about like trying to maintain authority while being, while like that whole desire to be the friend. But like it's a character that that was sitting in a folder somewhere but never got used. And when I kind of, I kind of made like a spur of the moment decision to do, to actually have them come to the playground instead of just constantly talking about it. I sort of dug out this family, did a little bit of alterations to them, and probably for the first time since way, way, way back, I dug out the character of the brother and reconfigured him. And unfortunately, now he doesn't look like now he doesn't look anything like them. Oh, nor does he look like a college kid. So I don't know. but it does open up some possibility. Like in my head, it's opened up some possibilities. Like just looking at, because it's like, I mean, on one hand, I suppose I could just use him as a completely different, non-related character in another story somewhere. On the other hand, I'm sort of leaning in a new direction with Alex that I didn't plan to go when I started this. And you're just looking at him, and now that I like put this brother, sort of redone this brother, looking at him, I can kind of just reconfigure the backstory with him in my head because it never made it on the page, so there's no, no canon I have to worry about with him. At least I don't think I do. Maybe I should look into that. But I can basically just alter his backstory, so to speak, and let's see which way am I going. And the idea is like he could he could almost be the catalyst to giving Alex a new idea for his future. If I decide to use him, and that's big if. Don't take this as anything. And let me see. Before I go messing with this, let me pull up page 15. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know if I had the kids in a shot somewhere. So I can close that. Uh, okay, so I've got to change them to. Whoops. Actually, you know what? Hold on. They're not even going to be in this, are they? I don't have to change. I don't have to move them around for this shot because they'll get cut out. So I'm going to leave them in. But I am not liking the look of that hand. So I'm going to go back to perspective view so I can keep that camera angle. And I can just. That look better. what's the idea is right now in the story, I keep messing with the idea that I keep messing with this like recurring joke that Alex is just blowing his grades all over the place. Sooner or later in the story, maybe if sooner or later in the story he's going to be discussing options. And I've got characters in universe already who what picture am I on? There, okay, so I'm already layer. So, without really giving away too much because it's not going to be in this part, but I've got characters in universe who can give him alternatives to college. Just think, it's just for the story to consider alternatives. Not that he's going to take each and every one, but there are some very real possibilities for his future that don't involve going to college. So it's kind of like part of Alex's story is he's going to explore. Yeah, see, I get to cut the kids off, and you don't have to see them. It's okay. It's basically part of his story is like he's trying to pass this class. We see him spending basically every waking moment studying, doing his homework, trying to turn his grades around before it's too late. But okay, I'm messing up here. Fucking you guys. Yes. So it's the idea is like he's not giving up, but he's going to eventually be looking uh, at other options, considering alternatives and that sort of thing. So this brother we've never met before, it's it's I look at the character and well like he doesn't exactly look like a brother. Um, it's again because he doesn't look like he doesn't look anything like him anymore, like his supposed brother anymore. It's possible if he makes it to the page, he could end up being like a stepbrother, or I'm leaning toward a cousin. My cousin's staying with me, that sort of thing. But it's also looking at him. He strikes me as being somebody who can give, who's living one of those alternatives that Alex is going to consider, or I should say, like, he gives Alex another alternative to consider. Hmm. I'm not really liking the placement. Hmm. Okay, you know what? I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to redo this picture so that I've got the space at the top for the word bubble. And while I'm here, I'm going to, oops, I need currently used. I'm going to change this because I don't quite like that facial expression. I think I can get what I want that way. Render. Just going to delete this one. Okay, so okay, let's see file. Scale 33. Let's see, it should go here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so this is you. I don't need to put in another black background because I can basically use the border from the old picture. So it's like a layered image size, blah, 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 and then just go invert, shrink by 1, invert, edit, cut, and I'll select none. And you probably can't see it on the screen, but it's if you had the I think if you had the resolution, you can see the black border from the picture underneath is now, and then we'll just merge it down. And it's as if this has actually, let me zoom in because this bottom, okay. Yeah, I don't know if like zoomed in you can still, if you can see it or not, but here's my my 1 pixel black border. Save. Sort of tilt their head, twist their heads to make to make it look like they're following him out to the sand, so to speak. wrong with her face? I guess it's just maybe that's not what I want to use. That's a little better. Okay, so this is 32. Control C that. So yeah, like I said, whenever I pop these two up, I just kind of subtly rework them. Just I think like I did with the Smith family at one point. Because the idea is in sort of like those early days, so to speak. Everybody was created to be athletic, so to speak. Let's see, it's hard to say. What is going on? Oh boy. Okay, I have no idea what's going on there. Okay, so it's with Kyle here more so than Gwen. It's I've just been sort of like shifting him away from that. I think from when I brought him out for Aiden's bully, I was shifting away from that sort of athletic look, and I just like each time I pop him in here, I sort of gradually make him look more and more dad bodish. Cut, select, unknit it, layer. Okay, so let's go file, open his layers. I'm gonna hold off on trimming this one because I don't know if I'm gonna cut it at the middle or make it the larger of the two yet. Just gonna grab all these and go delete keys. Control D to bring him to the ground level. Let's delete these keys. Um, let's just collapse all to make this easy. What I'm going to do is just take them out for now. They are Olivia and Eli, right? Pop them in clothes because I don't have. I think the rotation is 108 on the slide. I'm going to be adjusting those later, but just keys. Oops. Um, yeah, I feel like I hit a brick wall there. But it's like the thing. It's with I suppose with the brother. I'm gonna call him the brother just because I don't. But it's the idea is with the brother because he was like envisioned as a college student when I reimagined the figure, character, whatever. I kind of kept. I sort of kept the bodybuilder look with him, and I think that's that. And it's sort of in my head. That's what I think is gonna. That's gonna be the. Oh my god. That's gonna be the factor that sort of gets Alex talking to him. The idea that Alex. The reason it does that, I think, is because there's a weird lag from the time I click on it to the time it actually reacts to it, or the time I unclick it. When you click unclick, okay, so oh, you're still at 108, huh? So it's if I use him. The idea is that like Alex is drawn to him as somebody who clearly lifts weights like he does. And the idea is he's awful comfortable talking to him, and that's how they get talking about one option for Alex's future. Because in the videos, in some of the other videos in this one, where I've just been using these to sort of brainstorm ideas, that's been one that's been a strong possibility. Let's expand. It's sort of one possibility I'm toying with is that at the end of the story, at the end of this, Alex decides college isn't for him and takes one of those options. That he considers in this in here. The idea being that like he'll still live from home. Well, he still lives from home while he's working. Because I don't want, I'm not quite, I don't really want to break that dynamic of Jackson not getting his own room. Hmm. Okay, this is coming along. There we go. And then the idea, oh my god, seriously. And then the idea is if he, let's see, if he goes right into the workforce, then I can do, and it sort of opens up the possibility. It sort of opens up like a multi-year, very long-term story arc. Story arc. I don't know if story arc is quite the right, but you get like I said, a very long-term plan with Alex, where in story he gets in story I could have him meeting a girl, getting married, starting his own family. probably like maybe you have like a new baby in the family in 2 years. Let's see. I'm trying to get a good angle here. Because I like this look up at the sky, but this railing is in the way of his face. So it's like, ideally, I'd like something like that, but I might have to go with that. I'd also like to get that wall out of the shot. Well, actually, that low, it'll get cut off. Okay, 33. Let's see. I think I can go with this one. I'll probably end up cutting it to make this a large picture instead of half-sized. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So cut. Oh, shoot. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's a good place to cut it. Layer to image size. Select shrink. Get ahead of myself. Merge that down. Oh, what did I just do? I didn't need to paste that. Let's merge that down. And I think I once again have to copy Control C that. It says layer. It didn't used to be. Uh, let's cut. Paste this new layer. sort of one of the things I'm struggling with working on this part, story wise, is this idea that the background story is with the kids, but it's got to somehow fit David in a little bit more. Okay. Oops. JPEG. Okay, so let's find. Actually, let's take all these and dump them there. Okay, so no, it's that stupid device of hers. It's defective, and now I'm shrinking without it. I have no idea when this will stop or how small I'll be when it does. That kind of sucks. But I've never heard of any of these devices malfunctioning like that before. I can't find anything on it, but it's happening. I mean, I got rid of it last year, so I know it's not someone messing with me this time. Come on, Daddy, play with me and my friends. It's hard to say no to them, isn't it? Didn't used to be. Well, that is page 16. I'm going to cut off there. I know I kind of made the mistake of going into a new thought at the very end there. But, I think I've talked about it before, and I'll probably talk about it again. So I will see you next time.